So we're building a bunch of stuff this week. Uh, I think specifically we're building out metrics. We're going to be making a monster or an enemy or a bot system. Along with that, we'll be also trying to make. Okay, before this Alistair goes and nerds out on how he's gone about and explained everything code related, let me take you through what everyone else has been doing in episode 3 of making a game from zero to VR. And yeah, spoiler alert, it's gonna be mainly about a lot and a lot of planning. But you're here to join me and see this adventure, so let's take it away. This week is all about understanding what our game is going to be about. What do we need to build, what the gameplay will look like, and some marketing related stuff with how to market the game to the public. And I sat through tons of meetings like this one, and this one. If I'm made to sit in another meeting, I'ma get. But yeah, so our initial plan needs to have all the things that will make our game fun, addictive, and a reason for players to come. It's mainly about filling in that anime sailing fantasy that really isn't there in the VR market right now. And so our main takeaways are that we need sailing. Basically, you want to be able to travel in ships and boats, or who knows, even sea creatures for all we know. Then we need to have pirates, and the feeling of you becoming a pirate is really important. And finally, fruits. Fruits being the main weapon or the tool that you go out to acquire, master, and use in battles. If you're wondering why are we going with pirates and fruits, check out episode 1 on understanding this entire game and why we're building it. And finally, a good boss fight. All animes have good boss fights, so we need to have that for sure. And eventually we need to figure out how to combine all these 4 different aspects into a game that's fun to play. Pretty easy, right? And while this was happening, you might be wondering what was the rest of the team working on. Well, let me take you through that. Andrew, our concept artist, finally finished up with concepting the character, and this is how it looks. Pretty cool, right? Something out of a gorilla from an anime show. And yeah, we have these tons of reactions as well, which is kind of what we want to try to get in our game. So yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. And with that, our VFX prodigy Pralay was working on adding different VFX effects for the swords. And yeah, making them look pretty cool. We'll get to see that at the end of the video. And finally, Niramya, our technical artist, was figuring out what the different types of islands will look in our game and also trying to understand the different types of terrains that we could work with. He was also trying out an interesting feature, which is how would water look in VR, especially for this game. Like what kind of water would we be using, how realistic it needs to be, and also a very important thing is how performant would a water shader be for the game. And we were also watching some JoJo. Of course, it was for purely research purposes and for nothing more. Don't show this to my boss. Now you guys get to listen to Nerdy Alistair. He's smart, okay? So you better listen to him. Let me break down how we're going to be making the bot system and how it's going to be scalable. And so you might be wondering. And just like that, we have monsters. Just a bunch of bean monsters patrolling their paths and trying to find any enemies, and if they find them, they'll kill them. Oh yeah, and we definitely made this entire bot system on our own. Completely coded up the architecture for the boss monsters, the basic monsters, everything. The entire finite state machine was 100% coded by us. We definitely did not go online to some website to find a bunch of assets and code. 100% Fusion does not have any samples that help us to get these monsters working. And so yeah, this is completely by the effort of the team. Meanwhile, Pralay, our VFX artist, finally got done with different types of swords. And so he's made 3 different types of elementals: fire, water, and grass. And Eventually, we'll have different abilities for each of them in the coming episodes. We also got started with finally taking the concept that Andrew had made and finally modeling it out. So Mukesh, our 3D modeler, got started with that, and this is how it kind of looks with some few early iterations. I think it looks pretty cool. We'll have to see how it looks in the game, but yeah, excited nonetheless. And you might be wondering, what was I doing during all of this? Well, I was back in my cozy spot, finally coding and not planning. And yeah, we were making some metrics. So if I had to talk in detail, the main reason why we're implementing metrics and analytics is mainly so that we can track different types of things that players do in the game. Like if they used a particular ability or if they visited a particular place. And this just kind of helps us understand whether players are wanting to play the game, they want to join the game, how many of them are joining the game, and even how long they're playing, which is really valuable information, especially when it comes to understanding the player base more. And you might be wondering, this is supposed to be an easy thing to implement, right? But for some reason, I have coded it. I spent the entire week trying to get this working, and eventually I did reach there, but as you can see from the look of my face, I look like a very defeated person. But we have metrics now, so that's a positive. And finally, the week ended with getting to see Niramya, our technical artist's island concept. So yeah, that looks pretty cool. And of course, in the end, we ended up putting some sort of terrain map with Pralay swords and the VFX, and this is kind of what we got. This is our sort of first scene test in VR with swords and an island. Pretty exciting. And that's basically what we have in week 3. We made tons of progress on different aspects, and we finally have a sort of game plan which will be executed next week, and so that feels like a story to share with you guys in the next week. So that covers episode 3. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, stay tuned, more episodes to come in the timeline that I feel like editing more videos and uploading. I promise I am trying to be consistent. So yeah, that we end episode 3, and I'll see you in the next one. Make a boss system, going down that route about thinking about how to make an FSM. An FSM is a finite state machine for context, but there is an easier way. So let me show you. And so because of the multiplayer architecture that we have chosen, which is photon fusion, we have a lot of benefits by kind of going about it. And so one of the main benefits is the fact that Fusion comes with a bunch of samples and templates that kind of show you how to do a couple of things without you really having to do that. And one of those really cool things, if you go under the game sample sections, is this pirate adventure game. And funny enough, we are kind of building a pirate adventure game, if you could call it a pirate adventure game. So in this pirate adventure game, you kind of have a lot of assets available to you, which we will 100% steal and use it. And one of those very cool features is, of course, a boss. And so with any game that comes with a boss, more specifically a pirate boss, why create it when you can just steal it? And so yeah, so as you can see, like they have a ton of samples, and like they have this sort of shark monster and they have this octopus monster in their sample. And so we're pretty much going to take that entire code, we're going to take it from one project and we're going to put it in another. Easy peasy, right? And for the first time, it was so easy. And of course, with the power of our coding AI cursor, everything is super easy. And so in a matter of hours, we have boss monsters, or maybe not boss monsters, maybe monsters that move around, but it's progress nonetheless. And so yeah, if I had to break down the way this works, we could kind of go around the route of having, so in essentially we have an enemy class or a boss monster. I cannot remember the name. Monster, base monster, base enemy, base AI. Oh, base bot. Oh, that's the name of the script. Base bot. See, I didn't write the script. It was Abhishek, the guy who sits side of me. He's the other dev in this team. So yeah, so we have a base bot script that technically has all the functionalities that handle our health, movement, and our state management. And on a high level, this kind of works with a finite state machine. And if you don't know what a finite state machine is, well, I'll break it down for you one day, but not today. But essentially, all it does is there's one controller, which is a machine, and that kind of decides between various states what state should currently be activated. And so, talking about states, what are these states that we have? So, an example is if our base bot or our monster that we're trying to make would have states like an idle state, a chase state, and an attack state to kind of do idle, chase, or attack depending on the circumstances. So similarly, we have a bot chase state, a bot attack, an attack, bot attack state? Yeah, bot attack state. A boss chase state, a bot attack state, and of course a bot idle state. Yeah, and so all these three functions run in tandem based on whatever the current state is. And so the state depends on the state behavior, and that is kind of based on like what happens. Like you enter a state, that depends on how we're going to program it. For now, we have like 3 states, and you go from our base, which controls all of the actions and how everything what happens, and then decides what state gets changed, and then each state handles kind of their own implementation of what happens in each state. But yeah, for the most part, this is kind of what it is in code. And if I had to break it down in a piece of paper, I'll probably do that in a bit. But essentially, this is bots